Hi everyone, it's Sue. Hope you're doing really well. Today I'm back with another episode in our Getting Out of Your Creative Rut series. I think we're up to number 5. So when I'm feeling that I don't have any inspiration, I love getting my watercolours out. I don't do any specific images, paint any specific images or scenery. I just like to dabble and make a mess basically. So I've had this urge to get my watercolors out lately, so I just thought we'd have a bit of a play and maybe do some backgrounds, and this is what I like to do. And I just find when you're doing your backgrounds you get a different effect every single time. Now I've taped off, just for the sake of the video and time wise, I've taped off some watercolor paper. Now this is just a really cheap pad, a Montmartre watercolor pad. It's 190 GSM. It was $4 at the cheap shop. It does for what I want. I know I'll get better effects if I use better watercolor paper, but for what I use them for, I can't justify spending that money. And then I've also got these A3 sheets that I've really roughly taped off, as you can see. I'm just thinking of different backgrounds for tags and journaling cards and that sort of thing. And this is just another cheap book from Aldi, and it's this Creative Place Artist Collection 300 GSM. It's more like a textured cardstock. I haven't actually used it before. I like to use it in between my covers when I'm making the covers for my journals, so it's maybe a complete disaster, but we'll see what happens. So I did a couple up because I'm very impatient and I don't like to wait for things to dry. So I just thought, well, one lot's drying, we can be working on another lot. So let's just get started on this little pad here. I've got some clean water. These are just some Prima watercolor palettes. I do have these in my shop and I love them, absolutely love them. I've got some watercolor brushes, and I'm just using this larger one. I'll just put my glasses on so I can tell you what it is. It's a size 10. I don't know. Tell me what it is. 10 filbert. 10 filbert, if anybody knows what that means. So I've got a mister somewhere. What have I done with my mister? And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to mist the paper. You can see whatever I was working on last time is on this paper already, and I'm not concerned about that. We're just going to have a play and just see if we can come up with some backgrounds. So I've probably got way too much water on there, and that's probably why it never dries for me, because I overwater, but that's all right. Okay, so I haven't even swatched those, so we won't use those ones. This is one of my favorite color palettes here. That one, and I'm not sure, let me have a look. Even this one's really nice. So let's just have a play and we'll see what happens. I'll speed up the video while I'm having a play, and you can just craft along with me if you like. So I'm just going to put that one aside to dry for the moment. It always dries lighter, but I'm liking how that's starting to look there. And I really haven't thought too much about it. I've just come in where there's a little bit of white and put some of the mist colour. We can always go back and add more colours or different layers. Now I can dry this with a heat tool, but I like to try and let it dry naturally if I can, because I just love how the watercolour just moves with all the water that's pooled on the paper. So I'm just going to pop that one to the side. Actually, we've got heaps pooled down here. I might just draw a bit of that up with my paintbrush. Otherwise it's going to take forever and a day to dry, and we'll just pop that to the side. So I'm just going to bring this other paper in now, and as I said, I haven't used this before, so I'm not sure how it's going to react to the paint or the water. So I'm just going to pop this palette to the side for the moment. And I might just use this softer one. So these are great to build. You can use, once they're dry, you can use them to build ephemera on top of. You can stamp on them. There's just so much that you can do with them. So I just like to try and have them there to play with when I want to. And it's a great way just to get a little bit of inspiration if you have no inspiration. It's just playing, and whatever happens, happens. Alrighty, so I'm going to go with a similar colorway. It's just going to be more of a pastel. So I tend to get stuck on certain color schemes as well all at one time. So, and I think that that's okay, because as I said, you can build it with your ephemera and embellishments and all that sort of thing. So this is really pale compared to the other colors, and I'm just really randomly just putting the colors on. I always start with the lighter color first. I don't know whether that's a good rule of thumb. I think so, because you can, once you've got darker colors on, you can't really add layers of white of lighter colors, sorry, unless it's completely dry. So once again, I'll speed up the camera and we'll just see what happens. Okay, so this cheaper paper, it's really not absorbing, it's just sitting, and you can see it's buckled, and so all the water is dripping to one side, so it's not the best. We're still going to work with it though, and we can make it work. you can see these are going to be really pale when you compare them with this one. So I ended up having visitors pop in, which was probably good because at least it gave these few that I started a bit of time to dry. So this is the cheap Aldi watercolour paper. I am certainly not loving it, but we're not going to waste it. I think definitely the brighter colours look better on it. Yeah, not overly impressed at all. So I won't be using it for watercolours again, I don't think. But what we can do now is just add a couple of extra layers. Mum dropped in as well, so while she was here I did a few other little extra bits and pieces on a couple. So so anyway, we'll work on these. It's mainly just get your paints out. If you've got watercolor paints, they don't have to be expensive. They can be relatively cheap ones. I've got a mess here is what I've got, but let me just grab this out. I've got this palette here that I just picked up at our local Kmart, and I think from memory it was only like $5, which is ridiculous. But I love I've used this gold, I think it's this one here, a lot, but you wouldn't even know. It's hardly even touched the surface. So I'm going to flick a little bit of gold on these. You could even add more brown. I'm just wondering, wonder what that would look like, this one here. So let me just find what I've done with my paintbrush again now. I had to move everything, put it away. Another thing which I love doing is, if I've got no inspiration, is just sitting and swatching my watercolors, but using a stamp, like a square stamp or something like that, on a journaling card, and then you can use it in your journals, so it's not wasted. So I might even do some of those down the track, but today we're just playing with these. So we'll have a look at this. Let's have a look and see what this looks like flicked on. I probably should be using a different brush to do the flicking, because I don't want really big blobs. What have we got here? This one's probably big as well. So it's just a bit of metallic copper. I'll let that dry, and I'll come back to these here. And I'm going to add some darker colours, and I'm thinking I might even maybe, oh, let me have a look. That's the one that we used, I think. So let's go with this one. I'm just going to put in some darker colours in there. Sometimes I even just like to flick a bit of extra water on the top and it'll dry and take away. You can see it sort of changing here. It might make the colours blend a little bit more. You just don't know what you're going to get, and it's just about mucking around. I'm quite liking this one. It's got that metallic, it's like a rose gold. I'm liking how that's looking. So we will leave that and see how that dries as well. So I will come back once that's happened. So I ended up using my heat tool to dry these ones. I really do not like this paper at all. This is just looking like a big blobby mess. So what I'm going to try and do is just reactivate maybe some of this. I don't think it's going to work with this paper, but just to, you know, there's too many lines and I don't know. I just do not like this one, and it's not obviously going to move. Some of it's moving, but yeah, I'm not loving this one. I may not even use this, may not even be able to rectify this one, but we'll just add a little bit of water. It just, I mean, with a good watercolor paper, I'm assuming that you would be able to reactivate that and move it a bit. I may be wrong. These are very shimmery. Yeah, as I said, I'm not loving this one at all, and on this sheet, but that's okay. It's all about playing. And so I'm just going to add a heap of water, and just wondering, I might even add a little bit of like a brown mist or something on it, and then I'll dry them with the heat tool. I'm not even worrying if it's you know, like really big blobs. It's just the base of this I'm really not loving at all. So if we end up throwing this out, so be it. Well, they look like a complete mess, don't they? I'm going to put them to the side for the moment, and I'm going to come back to this one that we did earlier on, where we splattered a bit of that rose gold ink on there. Now I think it's dry. Yep, it's dry. I think it needs something else. And I don't know, I may even completely ruin this by putting some of this spray on. I hope I don't, but let's just see what I've got here. Got a little container here, and I'm just going to water a little bit of it down and use the paintbrush to add the splotches. And I'm also going to get these back that I just dried before and add some of that. So they're a little bit damp still, so these probably will spread even more than what these have. And now what I might also do is just add some of this, I think it's still a little bit damp, but add some of this that's not watered down. Okay, now I'm going to add a bit of gold on these now. Okay, so these are looking really dirty and grungy. I'm going to clean this out, and I think I'm going to get some gesso maybe and water it down and put some white splotches on top of this. I mean, I don't need much. That's probably more than enough. And I'm just using just a cheap gesso as well. A Montmartre gesso. I don't use it a lot, so that lasts me forever. And I'm just going to water this down as well. And it's still quite thick. And we'll just let that dry and see what that looks like. So these are all dried, and I have stamped on this one. It's not overly clear. I'm thinking that originally I was thinking I'd do these and then stamp on them and decorate them a little bit more, but what I'm thinking now is that I'll probably just add some fussy cut flowers, some labels, make these into tags and journaling cards. This is one that I did, and I've just started trimming them down. And these, I'm not sure whether these are 100% dry yet, not quite, but you get the idea. So lovely backgrounds to build on. I will back all these with coffee dot paper and sew around them. So that's that one. And these, as I said before, I really don't like this paper. I'm happier with these, how they turned out now. Once they're dry, I'll cut them all down, which I still think they're pretty ugly. But I think as we build on those and make them, you know, add fussy cut flowers, as I said, or different ephemera, different embellishments and that sort of thing, I mean, I think that they will be okay. Don't love them. Had fun playing. And I guess that's what it's all about. So I've got some backgrounds. I'm not going to put them on top of one another. As I said, they're not quite dry. Got some lovely backgrounds to start using and building from for my journals. So I think these probably are my favourite. Those other ones are pretty ugly, but I'm not going to throw them out. I will go and use up this paper. I won't waste it, but definitely won't be using it for watercolouring. Oops, sorry, won't be using it for doing watercolouring on again. It'll just go in between my journal covers when I make my journals. So I don't know. I don't know whether I was going to stamp this stamp, but when the other one didn't turn out all that great, I decided I would leave it. Let me know what you think. Grab out your paints. I mean, you can even use your acrylics and do some backgrounds, that sort of thing. It's just something, if you just have no inspiration at all, just to get you out of that little rut that we're in and just create some background so you've got something to work on in the future when the inspiration hits you again. All right, guys. I hope that was okay. I hope somebody got a little bit of something out of that. Cut these down once they're dry, and then I may even in a future video decorate them with you, and we'll see what they turn out like. All right, take care everyone, and until next time, I hope you get a little bit of creative time in. See you soon. Bye-bye.